my last Bible Rocks video, I talked about a pillow. Well, this was a pillow for Jacob out in the wilderness north of what we now know as Jerusalem. And you know, you think about using a rock as a pillow, it's kind of hard to imagine. It also makes me glad that I'm not part of a pillow fight with this kind of pillows. Anyhow, that was in Genesis chapter 28. In Genesis chapters 29 through 31, we continue with the story of Jacob, who was on his way to get a wife. Now, when he got up to the place where he was going to be, a place called Padan Aram, he got to the well first thing, and he had some sheep with him, and he went to where the shepherds were, and you see this herd of sheep right here, or I suppose you could call it a flock of sheep. But what happened was he got there, and the other shepherds were out there watering their sheep. And then this gorgeous girl showed up, and her name was Rachel. Now, Rachel was absolutely beautiful, and when Jacob saw her, he was all excited. So he went over and he said, "I'm here to meet my uncle's family." And he introduced herself, and she said, "Well, my father is Laban." And so she took him home to meet her dad, which was Jacob's uncle. When Jacob got there, he arranged with his uncle, and we don't do marriage this way anymore, but what he did is he said, "I will work 7 years to earn your daughter, Rachel." And he did. He worked for 7 years and earned his wife. And then on his wedding night, his father-in-law Laban made a switch. And what ended up happening was, it was Rachel's older sister Leah that he had actually married. Well, Jacob wasn't too happy, so the next day he went to his uncle Laban and he said, "What do I have to do to actually get Rachel? You've tricked me." So Laban said, "Work 7 more years." So he did. He worked 7 more years. Now, during that time, he and his wives had lots of kids. There's a lot of drama involved with this because not only had kids with his wives, but also with his surrogates, which were the servant girls of the wives. They had a lot of kids, ended up being 12 actually, known as the 12 tribes of Israel. During that time, his flocks multiplied. But because he wanted to have his own flocks instead of just his uncle's flocks, what he did is he arranged with God so that he would put sticks with the bark stripped off, things like that, in front of the water. And then the strong ewes would look at that, and I don't understand how this happened, but the speckled sheep and the striped sheep would go into Jacob's flock. But all the ones that did not have those were left with Laban. So let's do some inspection. Let's see. This guy, nope. Let's take a look at this one. Specks, streaks, nope. Well, a pink sheep, no way. How about this one? Nope. You see, all of these sheep would have been rejects, and they would not have been part of Jacob's flock. But God did bless Jacob in a huge way. And eventually what happened is Jacob and his wives and his kids and all of his flocks headed back toward where Isaac was, which is Jacob's daddy, with his new wife and everything 14 years later. Well, they left kind of in the middle of the night, and Laban, his father-in-law, decided to go catch them and say, "Don't go." When he caught up to them, what happened was Jacob and Laban had an argument. And the Lord said, "You need to go." But Laban said, "Please stay here with me." But Jacob said, "No, God said I need to go, and I need to go." So what they did is they built themselves an altar, and they put a bunch of rocks into a pile. And after they had the pile of rocks, they then took a bull and placed the bull on the altar, and they offered a sacrifice to God. And this was a stone, this was a time of commitment we know as Mizpah. Now, you may have heard this in church before. where the saying is, the Lord watched between me and thee while we are absent one from another. That's in Genesis chapter 31, verse 49. But what you may not understand is the reason that they had this commitment. The word Mizpah means look both ways. On that altar, they were both agreeing to something. Because of their relationship with each other, with the deception about the bride, with the deception about leaving in the night, and the fear about the striped and spotted sheep, Laban didn't trust his son-in-law Jacob, and Jacob didn't trust his father-in-law Laban. So when they said, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent one from another, what they were saying is, you stay on your side, I'll stay on mine, and when I can't see you, remember, God is watching. We're supposed to be people of integrity, people of honor, people of honesty. Whenever you hear that, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent one from another, realize that that was because of the deception of men's hearts.